Hey guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel and happy 2026. Hopefully this year is better than last year. At least for me, I did not have a great last year. So, yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been on here. The last couple of months of the year were not the greatest for me. Yeah, they were wild. They were pretty nuts. They were pretty wild. So yeah, I put out a couple videos that I pre-filmed, but, I was planning on doing at least a couple more, but that didn't pan out, as you can see. So yeah, that didn't quite work out. I also had to rethink what I was doing with this channel, how I want to move things going forward, so on and so forth. So, since I've been having kind of a, not the greatest mindset around it, for me personally. So, I was reevaluating all that and determining what I wanted to do and so on and so forth. And if you've already noticed, which I'm sure you guys have, this is a slightly different setup. So I was able to, due to a lot of life stuff that happened last year, I was able to rearrange my room a bit. So this is, this bookcase actually used to be in my closet. So I brought it out and I set up this nice little corner, so I figured, you know what, why not film here? In this video, I'm going to be kind of doing my goals for the year, of a sort. I guess I should also go over my 2025 goals. Hold on a minute. These are mostly just going to be reading goals, but, also I have, I don't know, I want to do a few kind of channel updates, I guess you could call it. Maybe some writing type ideas, goals, whatchamacallits. So yeah, this is just gonna be all over the place. We're just gonna move into what I'm doing with this channel. So originally I started it because I wanted a place to share books I was reading, yes, but also I wanted a place to kind of like a social media presence for my writing, for my eventual publishing of books and stuff like that. But, I don't know, and then I just started focusing too much on, like, I guess a business related area, even though I'm like not even have a business with this, with writing yet. As a whole, I'm still working on that, but, so I was the whole thing is, I just had a bad mindset about it. So, I think a lot of the last few months, God was helping me reevaluate what I wanted to do with this. And I've decided I'm going to keep this as more of a fun hobby type thing. So I may not post every week. Yeah, things like that. I'm going to keep it as more of a fun space where, yes, I can share about my books and the books I read and the books I write. And also some other things, like I do eventually want to try to do movie reviews and stuff, but I haven't quite figured out how to do it or how I want to approach it. So, but that is something I want to do. I just want to talk about stories with people who also love stories in any format, and also share my writing journey. So yeah, I just want to take more of a fun approach to this. So it's going to be a little more relaxed. I mean, not that my videos have been strict, but I tried to keep to like a strict schedule, and it just wasn't working. Sometimes it just wasn't even possible for me to do it. So I'm going to be keeping it as more low-key, more fun type vibe, at least for myself. I mean, nothing much is going to really change on here. So anyways, that's kind of the channel update. Two things that will be definitely happening is I will be filming and posting my 300 subscriber celebration video, which is my top favorite indie authors. So that took a while for me to gather together, and then once I had all the information, November and December hit, and that was that. That was one of the videos I wanted to put out in December, but it didn't happen. Actually, I was feeling either terrible or I was sick most of December. So nothing really happened. And that was like end of November into December, and then December was a terrible month, at least for my health anyways. So that's why that video, I wanted to put it out in December, but it didn't happen. But it will be coming out this year. I don't know when, because I still have to film it, but I have all the notes together. I kind of have an idea of how I want to set it up. I just need to film it now. So, yeah, so that one's definitely going to be happening. I will also be doing recent reads wrap-ups for the last 4 months of 2025. again, I didn't have time for any of that, and I was not in the right headspace for those. But I still want to share the books I did read in those last 4 months with you guys. So I will be doing those videos at some point. Those will be more sporadic. I will intersperse them with, obviously, recent reads that I'm going to be doing for 2026 as well. So it may not be right away, but I will get to those eventually. Also, I will also be doing my favorite books of 2025 and my most disappointing books, least favorite books. I will be doing those videos at some point. So those are the, like, set in stone ones that I do want to do beyond this goals video, this, like, update video, and all that. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for set in stone wise. Otherwise, everything else is just going to be whatever and whenever. Oh, and I also want to keep doing my anticipated book releases 3 times a year for indie books and some traditionally published books that I also have. The one I have for January, the one I'm going to have for January, February, and March will probably be closer to the end of January into February. I delay it for so long, even though half the books in January get released before I even talk about them. I do that for a reason, because a lot of indie authors wait until later in the year or later in the month to announce when they're going to be releasing books. So if they have certain dates, I want to include those. So that's why I wait so long. I think I explained that last year too, but I do still want to share those books as well. So yeah, those are all the channel updates. Now I'm going to go into what goals did I actually accomplish, reading goals wise, in 2025. Let's see, let's look at this. I actually haven't pre-looked at this, so, okay. My reading goals, I didn't have many, but I had some. Let's see, Goodreads challenge was 100 books. I did complete that. I actually bumped it up to 200. Later on, like, I actually changed the number once I reached 100. That's just a yearly goal I do every year, so that'll be one of my goals for this year, but I'll talk about that later. Read an ebook a month. I accomplished that. I really don't have a problem with that anymore. I used to set it as one a month because I used to read them on my phone before I got a Kindle, because it was really hard for me to read them on a phone, but I wanted to read the books. So I'll be nixing that one for next year. Anyways, reread. I did that one. Complete Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. I think I got up to, what did I end up stopping at? I did July's. And then the rest of the year, I just dropped off. I didn't even look at the prompts. So that one was kind of a fail. I did part of it, but then I just dropped off completely. Do Morgan's Christian Fantasy Challenge. I failed at that one too. I only did, I'm not even sure I did half of them. Yeah, I didn't even do half of the prompts. Yeah, so that one was a fail. Finish at least 7 series. I did do this one, barely, but I did do it. Let's see, where's my series list? It's in this book. Here it is. The 7 series I did complete were The Winter, White, and Wicked duology by Shannon Ditmore. I did finish the last book of that one. Supervillain Rehabilitation Project series by H.L. Burke. I finally finished that one. The Winnie's on the Wind series by Angela Dorsey. I finished this one as well. That was a long time coming. Then I also finished the Brothers Creed series by Joshua C. Chad. Finished that one. I also finished the manga series My Hero Academia. And the Legends of Lanneria series by Michaela Bush. And the one that I barely squeaked in the last month was the Love Struck Lightning duology by Karen Dalath? I don't know how to say the author's last name, but I barely finished that one. So, I squeaked in with that one, but I did complete it, so it counts. Participate in readathons was another goal. I did do that. I did participate in some, the Once Upon a February readathon, the Middle Earth readathon, I think, not Chantel's, Amanda's Southern Charm readathon. I did participate in that one. I think that's it. I kind of dropped off of reading readathons by the end of the year too. I was dropping off everything. The only one I actually did at the end of the year was the Middle Earth readathon, which I actually completed. If anybody did that challenge, I actually completed both teams. I did the Lord of the Rings team and the Hobbit team. I did all of it. So, yeah. So that was fun. Okay. My other goals: read more fairy tales, legends, and myths. Okay, I sort of did this. I was better at this at the beginning of the year. I think I only ended up reading one fairy tale collection though, which was the Blue Fairy book. I tried reading Le Morte d'Arthur, which is the original King Arthur legend. I couldn't do that one. The way it's written was just, no, too much. I'm gonna have to find a different King Arthur type book. Beyond that, I don't think I did any others. So, kind of a fail. I sort of did it, but I also didn't set a set number. So it's like, okay, I did read some, but not really what I was going for. So I'm just gonna count that as a fail. Then I had research and whittle down my TBR, which is my Goodreads want to read list. I did that. I do that periodically throughout the year, so that was an accomplishment. I had then we have buy less physical books, get more ebooks or requests from the library. I did do this. I only bought 12 paperbacks last year. I did buy quite a few more ebooks, and I read quite a few of them, but that's going to be a goal for this year, what to do with my ebooks. But yeah, I did accomplish this one. And keep track of how many books I buy, how much they are, and if I read them in 2025 or not. I did do this. And that was very helpful to help me kind of keep track of that. So yeah, overall, it wasn't too bad. I did okay. I accomplished most of them, and others I just kind of either fell off the bandwagon or didn't bother. So, I would say it's pretty good. Anyways, my ones for 2026, I have less of them for 2026, mainly because, yeah, I just didn't want to do too many goals this year, and I also want to focus more on writing. Not that I really focus too much on the reading goals. Most of the time, I just set them, I write them down, and then I ignore them for the rest of the year. So, I don't know, at least reading goals don't really pressure me any. I just kind of set them, I write them down, and I wander off. So, I'm not like one of those people who is like, I set a goal and I like really have to accomplish it. Most of the time I forget about it. So, okay. So, yeah, that's kind of what these are. But I set some more, like actual, not really standards, but, some more concrete parameters, but not so much that they're so rigid, if that makes any sense. So the first goal for 2026 is to read 100 books. That's just my Goodreads reading challenge number that I set it at, but I also have a stipulation this year, did not change it. So usually when I hit 100, I then switch it to like say 200 or something. This year I'm not going to bother changing it. Once I hit 100, I'm just going to keep reading, and the number ends up being whatever it is. So, okay, my next one is to read half of my unread ebooks. So, I have a list on Goodreads, which I currently don't remember the number, so I'll put it up here. So, whatever this number is currently, I'm going to try to read half of them. So, that is, the math will be down here of whatever number it starts at, what number of ebooks I want to read. So I'm doing this for a reason, because I have I know for a fact I have 170 some books without looking at the numbers. So some of these have been on there forever. Some of these are more new, and I actually just want to read them. I have the books, I want to read them, and I would prefer the list of them to be a little more manageable. I tend to be a little slower with ebooks, mainly because I have ARCs that the majority of them are ebooks. So I then tend to focus on those more, which of course I should, because they have due dates and they need reviews up. But I also want to read the other ones as well and not neglect those. So, especially because I found out last year, a lot of these books some of them that have been sitting on my Kindle forever, I've either loved them, and it's like, why didn't I read this sooner? And then some of the other ones, I just end up, I thought I would like them, and I ended up not liking them. So there's always going to be that variance, of course, with books, but I don't know, I just want to whittle it down to a more manageable level and not just have it be like I just keep adding books without reading them. So, yeah, I definitely want to focus on that one. My physical TBR is great. You can kind of see it up there. You can see most of the library books I have, but I have one physical book left. Possibly two. One of them, I have two unread physical books, and then The only other ones I have are these 4 of Yona, which, yeah, I'll get into, like, my rereads later, but, this series is definitely one of them, and now that the series is done, I may end up reading these a lot sooner than I thought I would. So technically those are the only physical books I have left. The Yona ones, I have one other one, and then I have another one which is kind of a prequel to a series I read a couple years ago. And it's kind of depressing, so I was kind of thinking I would read that one in full when I reread that series, but I don't know when that's going to be, so I don't know if I'll end up reading that one or not. It's kind of just on my shelf as I read it, but I haven't fully read it or reviewed it or anything, so I don't know. That one's just sitting there. But, yeah. So, my physical books I'm doing great on. My ebooks I would like to get it down to a more manageable number. Okay, my next one is to finish Andrew Lang's fairy tale books. So this is kind of my editing version of my read fairy tales, legends, and myths. So I'm narrowing down to what group I want to read. So I want to read the Color Fairy series, which is like the Blue Fairy book. They're edited by Andrew Lang. So my library has quite a few of them. So I definitely want to finish those that they have. Maybe I could see if they would get some of the other ones or something. But yeah, I want to finish those. Those would be like my fairy tale books for the year. Also, I want to reread more. Obviously, I found a lot of joy in rereading books last year. I mean, I always have, but I haven't reread in so long that sometimes I just picked up a random book and reread it, and I really liked it. So, I do want to reread some specific books. I don't know if I'll get to them. I was going to have 8, but I only have 6 listed here. Some of these are because I want to finish the next book or so in a series, and I want to refresh myself on what's going on. Some of them I just want to reread, but reread broad spectrum. But also, I have some specifics. I'll put them out here. I may or may not do them. Who knows? I started rereading Yona of the Dawn, this manga series, last year. I would like to continue that. I only got I stopped at volume 11. So I would really like to continue rereading the series and possibly catch up to what has been published, but we'll see how it goes. But I definitely want to keep rereading that. I really, really enjoyed rereading those and revisiting those characters again. I would also like to reread Replication by Jill Williamson. This is used to be a favorite book of mine. I want to see if it still is. I've had kind of up and down things with her books, and I would like to reread some of them and see if my opinions have changed any. So yeah, that one, this is just the one that is my favorite of hers, and I own, so I want to reread that. I also want to reread Structuring Your Novel by Cam Weiland. Yeah, I found her craft books. I read 2 of them last year, reread 2 of them last year, and I found them very helpful. So I definitely want to reread this one and see if I'll find this one as helpful as well. I also have Moonscript by H.S.J. Williams. This one's on here because I do want to read the companion novella and the second book, but I don't really remember much from Moonscript, and I would prefer to kind of like have things make sense. But so far, I have not had much luck in rereading previous books of series I'm continuing before reading the next books. Usually I just end up reading the next book, and then I'm just like, I wonder what's going on. So we'll see about that one. Then I have 2 middle grade series on here. I have the Bella Sarah series, which I did start rereading last year or the year before, and I never continued. I'd like to finish those books, give them all proper reviews on Goodreads. Also, I would really like to reread the Phantom Stallion Wild Horse Island series by Terry Farley. This is a middle grade series set in Hawaii. It's a middle grade horse series. And I loved a lot of these books when I was younger and read them a ton. You can tell the books I definitely reread a lot. But I would like to reread the whole series and see my thoughts on it. Yeah, I never liked Terry Farley's main series, the Phantom Stallion series, which is actually the more popular one. They reprinted this in the last couple of years. And I'm kind of hoping Wild Horse Island will get reprinted too, and maybe, because according to Goodreads, it looks like there were supposed to be more books in that series, which I am now just like, I was robbed of more books in that series, I feel cheated now. So if that's the case, I would really like for those to be published. If not, and it's just Goodreads being weird, then oh well. I mean, the 11th book ended fine where it was. But if there were more, I would have loved that. So I'm kind of hoping that series will get reprinted. I don't know when, even if it does. But the Fam Stallion series is somewhere in the teens now, so, and it's like 25 books, so who really knows when that will happen, if it does. So, but those are kind of my specific rereads I want to try for, but I'm not going to really push myself to try for them. It's just going to be like, do I feel in the mood to read this? Yes or no. So, yeah, that sort of thing. Low key. Okay. And I also want to read more specific books. I was inspired to do this by Chantel's DIY literature degrees that she's been doing. So it's not really in the same vein, but I would like to pick specific subjects and just kind of like read more on them. Like I would really want to learn more about tea making, like making tea blends, tea ceremonies, stuff like that, stuff around tea because I like tea. And I would also like to learn more about the birds and the nature in my state where I live. I live in the Rocky Mountains. So I would really like to learn more about the natural world around me, like the birds and specific things like that. So those books I probably won't talk about on this channel because I don't really want to reveal what state I live in. I don't really want to do the specific state for privacy reasons. So yeah, so I probably would not share those books on here or even on Goodreads, but unless it's like really generic. But yeah, that's definitely something I would like to read more on. There might be other subject matters, like I know I want to research some things for a story I'm hoping to write maybe this year. I don't know about that, but we'll see. But I want to do some research on certain things, so those books would be on here. Just more specific stuff I want to research. And my last one is to try to participate in Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge again. I haven't watched her video yet on even what the details are, so I don't even know if it'll be possible, but I would like to try. Because I like doing her Read Your Bookshelf Challenge every year, and I feel bad for myself that I didn't finish last year's. So yeah, I want to try again with this year's and maybe curate my ebooks towards this one. Because Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, I always try to read books I own. Like she says, you can do any type of book from libraries or books from libraries or anything like that. So, but I always try to do the ones I actually own. So, maybe I'll aim my ebooks towards these. Who really knows? But yeah, those are all my reading goals. Not very many, but a manageable amount, and I just like to keep it that way. Also, okay. So, let's see. I'm going to also address my writing. So, writing last year was more of a rediscovering my love for it and rediscovering my love for my stories and for myself and reevaluating and getting kind of hit in the face multiple times. Thank you, God, for that. But, you know, because I needed the more violent method of getting it across in my thick skull. So he kind of had to go, you know, slap me with it rather than just, here's a gentle nudge. I think he was trying that previously and I wasn't listening. So he was like, okay, fine, here. But, you know, anyways, I got the message. So I guess it worked. But anyways, I definitely want to follow his lead in what I write this year. I would like to finish the first draft of my third book in the Creedley Chronicles series, which is now back to being the final book. At least the final book of the main plot line. Let's put it that way. So yeah. I am definitely going to be aiming for that. But I am also leaving myself open to possibly exploring new story ideas, writing different ideas, being more of a mood writer as opposed to a strict, here's the schedule, here's this, and I'm going to beat myself to death with it. I want to be more open to what God wants me to write in the moment and like possibly research and brainstorm and things like that. So even though I'm a slow author as a whole, if I like say brainstorm a bunch of things, at least I'll have the foundation of other stories. And I did that a little bit last year. I did end up brainstorming and kind of outlining a Rapunzel retelling that I hope to write one day, and I really enjoyed doing that. I also started like researching for a middle grade horse series, kind of supernatural, that I got the idea for last year, and I started doing some research on that one, and it was fun to also do those alongside finishing Krita Lee. So I'm definitely just going to keep an open mind. I'm going to set, like, say a monthly, like, hey, I want to do this month, but also leave myself open to, if I get the whim to write something else at the time, like say write a short story about whatever, or start researching this project, I'm going to let myself do it and not feel guilty about it. Because book 3 has been incredibly hard, as you guys have known, because I've been talking about this book ever since I started this channel. And I think a lot of it has been hard because I've been getting in my own way about it. So I am still going to be working on it. I want to finish the completed first draft, possibly an edited first round, by the end of this year. And I think I can do it. I think I can. With God's help and guidance, I can definitely do it. I'm definitely on the right track for it, because I am back to, this is my story. I can do it my way and have the ending I want with the plot line I was going for. So a lot of it that I was changing, I'm going back to originally what I thought of this story to be. So a lot of it is reworking what I already have. That is currently where I'm at, is reworking stuff that I already have. But I'm enjoying the process, and I'm just kind of going with it. And yeah, I'm finding my love of writing again, and finding a routine of what I want to do, how I want to do it, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my writing goals for the year. That is kind of my goals for the year, and what I hope to achieve. And we're gonna see how things go. I hope this year is a better one. I know a lot of us, at least I've heard from a lot of people, that they had a really terrible year last year. I'm definitely one of the people who had a terrible year last year. Things with family dynamics shifting, and just all kinds of drama, and yeah, just a lot of headaches I didn't need last year. There's headaches on the horizon. I don't know what the future holds in certain areas for me. I'm hoping for the best. I'm trying my best to trust in God throughout the whole thing. But yeah. But I don't know. And it'll probably happen very quickly, figuring out what we're going to end up doing, my family and I, so about certain situations. So I'm hoping for the best, but at the same time, I'm a little concerned. So I don't know. I'm doing my best to trust in God and to just keep going forward with what He has given me to do. So yeah, but I am, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything that you can cross, let's cross them. Knock on wood, let's do everything. That's plaster, so I don't think that counts. So, anyways, yeah, but hopefully, you guys have a great 2026. Hopefully I have a great 2026. And yeah, let's get some goals done together. If you're a reader, a writer, any type of creative, any type of goals you want to share, personal, whatever, non-personal, whatever. Do you guys have goals for this year? If so, feel free to drop them down below in the comments. I'd love to hear about them and hear from you guys as a whole. What do you think about my sort of rambly new intro, so to speak, for the year? Yeah, let's talk everything down below in the comments. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, even though I'm rather willy-nilly helter-skelter with my channel. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the chaos. And yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.